One of the best things about Aquaholic is when people say to me they love the channel so much they're thinking about getting into boating. So I thought it would be great to show you a boat that I think would be perfect as a first step afloat. Now this is a Crownline 250, it's a 2005 boat, and I'm going to give you a full tour of this one because I think this is actually a really good step in at a fairly low cost, but a boat that you can do quite a lot with. Now these are an American built boat, and it is pretty much the sort of classic sports cruiser style really, but quite a bit of clever thinking has gone into this one. Now, like a lot of American boats, it's a fairly narrow beam, so what they've done is take the cockpit right out to the edges. There's no side decks, and I'll show you how we get onto the front in a moment. But what that means is you get the maximum space you can possibly get in the boat. As we go on board, you can see the cockpit is actually pretty wide. Now, I'll just show you on the back here first of all, because there's a couple of useful things here. There's a swim ladder, for example. So if you want to swim off the boat, that's pretty essential. There's also a ski tow on this one as well, so if you wanted to tow like a ski biscuit or that kind of thing, then you can do that with that. And then the first thing we find as we step on board is this area at the back. This is rather clever because it's a back seat, as you can see, so you can fit 2 or 3 people across there very comfortably. But have a look at this. You just lift this here and drop it the other way. And what a great area that makes. So you can sit there looking out across the back of the boat. If you're at anchor somewhere, that's superb. And it'll go further than that because you can drop it back again and have a more reclined version, or drop it completely flat and just have a huge, great sun pad. I think that's rather nice. Let's bring that back up. Now ahead of that, you've got the front part of the cockpit. This is a little wet bar arrangement here, so there's a sink and there's also a cooler in here. It's just a one you put some ice in and put your drinks in, and they're there to hand. There is a fridge inside as well. And as we go forward again, so there's a nice seat up here next to the helm so people can join along on the ride, or they can just relax there as Maggie's doing. Another interesting trick with this boat is that they've designed this helm seat. It's got a lift bolster, as you can see, but the other thing you can do is pull a little lever here, and the whole thing will swivel all the way around. Drop that bolster back down, and that gives you a really nice social area on the back of the boat. There's a table that'll sit in there, so when you're at rest, that's really nice. Anyway, let's put that back and carry on. This whole area, you can see we've got the bimini on here at the moment, but you can enclose all this, so at night this becomes almost like a sort of a lounge area. And a perfect example, there's another Crownline right next to us that's got it in place. So that is the kind of thing. There's also a flat tonneau cover, so if you're just getting in for the end of the day, you don't want to put all that up, you can just put a flat cover over the whole thing. Up here at the helm, let's lift that back up. It's all pretty straightforward. You've got instrumentation a little like you'd have on a car, so speed, revs, your oil pressure, your temperature, that kind of thing. Fuel gauge is over here. And then switch gear for things like your cockpit lights, your nav lights. Trim tabs are on here as well. And there's a control for a stereo just there, and a VHF radio down there. A couple of cup holders as well. So that's the cockpit. Let's go and have a look inside. Now this is why I think these boats are so good, because if you drop down into here, you've actually got a perfectly usable little cabin. There's standing headroom as you come in, just about. I'm 6'2" and I can just about stand upright in it. It drops as you go forward because the floor comes up slightly and the roof slopes down, but that's fine because when you're up here you don't want to stand, you want to sit around a table. And for that, it is no problem at all. This table, in fact, will drop, so if you want to make this into a big double bed, you can do. There's a hatch up above, you can open that, so it's another way out, or just ventilation, and you've got little windows around as well. Over here, this is a hanging locker. And then behind me on this side is the galley. So this is just pretty straightforward. There's a single burner hob. There's a sink here. Microwave on this one, that would work off the shore power. So if you're plugged into the marina, that would give you power for that. And this is the fridge down here. A bit of storage like so. It's all pretty compact, but it's what you need for a weekend on board. You can make yourself a cup of tea, heat yourself something up in the microwave, keep your sandwiches cool. What else do you need? And then on this side, this is the heads. So you've got a toilet in there, a little sink that pulls out. So you've got a shower and a little shelf along the top. And as we go back again, this is back underneath the cockpit, and what you've got here is a bed that runs across underneath, And in fact, in here, these are the cushions. So those are the cushions that go on the table. So if you want to make that table into a double bed, you can do. And those cushions underneath are for the foredeck. They're extra sunbathing cushions. I'll show you where those go in a moment. And then there's a curtain so you can have a little bit of privacy if you want it. But I think for a family, tuck the kids in there, or if it's just the two of you, you could sleep in there, or you could choose to sleep here where there's a bit more space. It's very adaptable. And it is very typical layout of this style of boat. Let's go and have a look up on the front, and then we'll finish off with the engine and performance. So, to get on the front, as I mentioned, this cockpit is the full width, so that you've got the maximum space in here. So to get up on the front, what you do is slide the door across, and that clips into place. Open the windscreen, and it's really easy then from the helm just to step up, and you're up on the foredeck. You'll see there's the poppers around here. That's to clip on those sun pad cushions that we saw in that mid cabin. Let's go right on down to the front. This has got non-slip surface on it, which is obviously very useful. And then right up the front here, your anchor is on the bow, and the anchor winch is in there. There we go. That's a pretty cool looking boat. A very sleek looking boat. I like the wraparound windscreen and so on. Yeah, that's great. Let's head on back a bit further, because the last thing to talk about then is what makes it go. So there's a button here on the dash, which is engine hatch. If we push that one, so this is a Volvo Penta D4 210, and the great news about this is it's a diesel engine, so very economical to run. And it also means that you can fuel it up very easily, because a lot of places have diesel but don't have petrol, so that can make life an awful lot easier. Now, they did this engine in three forms. They did a 210 horsepower, which this is, then a 260 and a 300. So this at 210 ought to be a pretty unstressed unit. It's actually quite a big capacity engine. I think they're 3.7 litre four-cylinder. I have one of these in my boat, the 260 version, and it's proven very good. So I'm guessing the top speed on this one's going to be about 30 knots. I haven't been out on one, but I'd imagine that's the sort of area that you could expect. But as I say, cruising therefore 20 to 25 knots is where you normally cruise these boats, and that's where we cruise our boat, and it should do that no problem at all, and it should do it really economically. So that should be a good engine for this boat. Let's drop that back down. Okay. So that's about it. I'm going to take a seat on the back here. I'll move that the other way. I think that looks like a nice, comfortable place to finish off. Now, she is a 2005 boat. That's not in itself a problem. My boat's 2006. I wouldn't worry about that. But what I would suggest is that you get a good survey and an engine inspection just to make sure everything is as it should be. And I'll finish off by saying thank you to my friend Tom at One Marine, because he's got this boat for sale. I'll put a link in the details so you can check it out. And as ever, thank you to you guys for watching. We'll look forward to catching you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.